Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union, and by Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm Insurance.
Plus, Diane Kimbrough, Lady Di, your insurance PI. Also by Dive Shop and Diventures nationwide. Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully. Napa Cafe Memphis and Glenda Hastings. Phoenix Unequaled Home Entertainment. For Memphis Magazine. The Live at the Garden Concert Series. And the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel, with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome into Lansky's at the world-famous Peabody Hotel. Our first guest today is a newcomer to Memphis, George Nixon. He is the new executive director of Catholic Charities for West Tennessee. Moved here from Rhode Island. And nobody's told him yet about the summer.
I've had some hints. I'm not sure I'm ready.
Well, it doesn't matter whether you're ready or not. Summer is coming,
coming.
And we're starting to feel just a little bit of humidity now. But the people are so great. You're going to love it here. And Catholic Charities has just a wonderful reputation here. You guys do so much good work in the community. And I was looking at your bio. You're from Rhode Island, and we were talking earlier. Originally, you were born in Texas, so that if you're a Texan, then we're simpatico.
Cowboy at heart, right?
That's right, cowboy at heart. You've done other things with other nonprofits before this. Is that your background?
That's right. A few different things, right? Yeah. So I've worked in the for-profit space. I've worked in leadership development, marketing. I worked in the nonprofit space, mostly with people with disabilities, helping them in their homes. And other than that, just a mixture of things, right? So quite a varied background, but I feel like I'm at home here.
I've worked for nonprofits before, like I was director of development for the Orpheum Theater, which is got a huge following, all kinds of productions. But I've never worked for a nonprofit where God was involved.
Yes.
You know, and then when you have the nuns and the priests that are there, I mean that's an army you got in addition to the lay people that are working there.
It's a tremendous resource, right? I mean, when I think of Catholic Charities, I think of the first part of it is that Catholic part of it, that church part of it. And so connecting back to those pews and back to those people who then support this mission, really to support the community, is just tremendous. It's such a resource. We have like 2,600 volunteers last year, right? And so that's the equivalent of 10 full-time employees that they just give to us, you know, in support of their neighbors. So
well, they're all working off penance, is what it is.
Yes. Yeah, I talked to the priests, and then in confession, they're sending them down. It's our recruiting system.
75 Hail Marys in 2 weeks with Catholic Charities.
That's a brilliant strategy. That'd be great.
But it is, from my experience with Catholic Charities, it's not, you don't follow necessarily traditional paths. You see things that need to be done, you figure out how to do them.
Exactly, right? It's finding where the need is and then responding to it. So because there are Catholic Charities all over the country, and each one is unique because each one is situated in a unique community. So ours is we tend to focus on, we call it kind of triage, right? So we feed, we clothe, and we house people. And there's a tremendous need, let me tell you. And actually, the need is growing. It's tremendous to see.
Well, no, I was downtown pulling up to the Peabody today, and I saw a guy laying out, it was 1 o'clock, 1:30 on the street with his belongings in a doorway.
Yep.
And when you see it, it's not as bad as some cities, but if it's happening, it's bad.
Yes, yeah, it is. And we've seen it grow. On our front porch every morning, we're giving out meal bags, which is, you know, if it was going to be your only meal, it could sustain you. And usually we give out about 180 meal bags. That would last us from like 8 to 10. Now we're seeing by 45 minutes we're out.
Wow.
It's incredible.
When you first came and started talking to them, did they give you any insight as to the needs here, or did you have some time to spend here to look around the community and just drive around and see it for yourself?
Yeah, both, right? So certainly in the interview process, there was sharing of what the needs are and where they want the organization to go, those kinds of concerns, but I got to go on campus and see what people are doing. And I got to tell you, what first captivated me was just this spirit of volunteerism that I thought at first was unique to Catholic Charities here, but as I got to know Memphis, was really just present in Memphis. There seems to be such a spirit of giving in this community that it's like, well, if being a nonprofit, I'm in the right space.
It is phenomenal. I moved here in 1978 from Dallas, and Dallas is a big city. Covered news there for a number of years. And you think Texans are pretty generous, and I think they are. But I came here, and what struck me is so unique is the people you see coming up to donate for different things. We would have drives for somebody loses everything in a fire. It's coat time for the kids in the winter. And you see these people pulling up in older model cars, and you think, well, they don't have any resource to do this. And then they bring in brand new coats with the tags on them, and then hand you a $100 bill, and you go, Don't give too much. You know, you're doing so much, and they go, no, I'm doing what I can, and I want to do it. It's a very generous community, and I'm sure they shared that with you. It's beyond what normal people would think to give. These people give more.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I definitely got that message. The first experience of it is before I arrived, one of our employees had actually passed away. I never got to meet her, but I came in maybe a few weeks after that, and her funeral was coming up, and we were talking about different things we could do, and someone said, well, we should kind of pass the hat and see if people, want to donate for the family. And I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it, thinking we'd get $200 or something like that. We raised over $3,000 for that family just by passing the hat among our employees. This is a nonprofit. These aren't people that are, in it for the money with these huge salaries. So I actually had to increase my donation. I was like, okay, I have to give more.
You're making me look bad.
You're making me look bad, right? Yeah. So it was incredible. And that spirit, I've continued to find it wherever I've gone.
What plans do you have in your mind right now that you'd like to start seeing implemented?
So we're on a path to try to establish what we're calling a one-stop shop. We actually have a keyword for it, which is a phrase, which is Hope Heights. So what we're seeing is that we're really good, as I said, as feeding, clothing, housing people, that initial emergency need. But to really stabilize people, they need so much more, right? They need mental health. They need financial training. They need clinical supports. There's just so much to really help somebody stabilize. So we're looking to bring in partners onto our campus, major players in Memphis, to this vision of a one-stop shop, that there's really no wrong door. You can show up here for a sandwich, right, in the morning, or a meal bag in the morning, but if you're having an issue with your eyes, well, we have an optometrist who can see you right now, right? So we think that that's really the future of supporting people, is not this kind of go down the road or across the way. They can't get there. They can't make an appointment. They don't know. It all has to be in one place where they know that I can go there for anything I need, and they can help me go to that next step.
Because I know we see people all the time, and when I was in news, and then I was also the spokesperson for the Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and so I would see people and other officers and individuals calling up and saying, I found somebody who needs some help. Who do they go to? And for years I've sent them to Catholic Charities. I remember back in the 90s when the Cuban immigrants from Cuba came here and came to Arkansas, and the Catholic Charities here also helped with that, and thousands of people, they helped get them settled in places, permanent places all over the country, which is one thing I don't think a lot of people know that Catholic Charities does. But just maintaining them and helping them eat and find shelter, and because I know there are places like the Mission here, but that costs like $6 a night, and you have to be clean and sober to get in there.
Right.
So that disqualifies a lot of people. But if people, what are the requirements for if they come to a shelter, or do you have a shelter currently?
So we don't have a shelter, but we will help people get into hotels, that kind of thing, for emergency housing. Our entry point is really just case management. So we help people find a house. So we work closely with a lot of landlords. And last year we ended homelessness for over 740 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I do know that there's an individual that we kind of help with. He sells newspapers on Sundays in Collierville. And he's living in a house with no heat or air conditioning or running water or lights. And it's a case where he has no ID, so we've helped him get ID, because you have to go back to ground zero.
Right.
And I know that's It's very difficult. People think you just go get their power turned on, but you got to put a deposit down. I mean, there are things that you have to do that to comply.
Yep.
And so it's not as easy as just saying, "Here's $20, go get it going."
Yeah, no, it's not. In my experience, it's very expensive to be poor.
Yes, yes. And most people can't afford it.
You can't afford poverty.
I can't afford poverty.
Yeah,
no.
it's too expensive.
But it is that is one place, the Catholic Charities, and so many of the other good organizations here in Memphis. It takes to make it,
Yeah,
and
it does.
and even more so now with the government cutbacks, because a lot of things that were covered before are not going to be covered in the future. In fact, we really don't even know what things are evolving that help is going to be needed.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fog of war. We're
Yeah.
just kind of in this stage where we really don't know what's coming. We know something is coming, probably for everybody, but the extent of it or what it's going to look like, we don't know. We're doing our best to prepare. I think for me, trying to be an optimist with this, it's how do we turn more to our community then? Right? If the community can grow and take care of each other, just if it can't work in Memphis, I don't think it's going to work anywhere. But if we ourselves can have a change of heart towards a need or a deepening of that charity, then I think it could be good for the community. But there's definitely going to be some pains involved in the near future.
Well, from my own experience, I've found getting in front of the corporate heads, they're all very much involved. Let them know what's needed, ask for their input. What can they do to help? And you'll be surprised at the reaction to it. But it's like the good Lord said, if you don't ask, you ain't going to get it.
Exactly.
And so you got to go ask.
And I think there are a lot of synergies, a lot of opportunities to work with business, whether that's through sponsorship or even just collaboration. And then I think that's the way forward, to show that charity, there's profit in charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and if it's only for the soul, there's
Yes.
profit in
Yeah,
it.
100%.
Because the more you give, the more you get.
Yeah.
Give them a number, how they can get in touch with you if they want to have a discussion with you.
You put me on the spot with our phone number. I'll give you a website more easily.
Do that.
Yeah, ccwtn.org.
Okay.
I am technically a millennial, so phones aren't my thing.
I know many of them, and they're not. Text me, email me,
Yeah.
but don't call me on the phone. And don't come in person.
Yeah, right, exactly.
But also Catholic Charities of West Tennessee.
Yes.
They know how to find you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in. Welcome to Memphis, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
we'll be seeing you again in the near future, talk about some of the things you're doing.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Up next, we've got Randy Wright with the Dive Shop, who is coming on to talk about one of the things he talks a lot about is travel. They send people all over the world on dive tours, and right now there's a problem in the Caribbean, all the islands. It's a seaweed problem, although Randy tells me it's not a seaweed problem. It is actually a fungi problem. And but the problem is it's so large in dimensions. It's like a huge floating cloud of seaweed, and it comes from Africa, crosses the Atlantic, and it's invaded the Gulf before. In fact, a couple of years ago down in Destin, it was starting to come in as we were there. And welcome to the show, Randy.
Yeah.
And it got worse that summer as things went along. And we've got some video. Rob, if you want to show a shot, then I think look at sargassum, and it is sorry-gasm.
Yeah.
Here's a shot of some of it on a beach, and there's some places like in Destin in Florida, they can't use any kind of machinery to pick it up. Is that right?
Well, yeah, the reason that you can't do that is it disturbs the turtle nesting and the other things that go on those beaches. So when you get machinery in there, it just makes the situation worse.
And but what I wanted to do was just kind of give people a heads up, because a lot of resorts don't call the people that have bookings there and let them know the beaches are covered with this sargassum.
Yeah,
but in your research, is it just in the Caribbean right now?
Well, it's generally in the Caribbean. I mean, most of the stuff that we have here is coming off the coast of Brazil. It's blown north by the wind and tends to collect in the Caribbean islands. And it really started getting bad about 2011. Part of it is the oceans are a little bit warmer. There's also a lot more just human activity. That's actually not a seaweed; it's an algae. So
algae.
It's an algae, and it grows on the surface. Benefits. It's a great, floating environment for all the little fish, the baby turtles, all those kinds of things. So it really is supportive while it's in the ocean. But once it comes to shore, then it starts to smother out the seagrass. It causes problems with the turtle habitat and all the other things that are going on shore, along with the idea that it's not very nice to look at, and it smells pretty bad.
Kind of a sulfury smell.
It actually does. It's the same thing as rotten eggs.
Yeah. One of my favorite fragrances.
And that can cause some serious, like these little small islands where people live close to the coast and they don't have really enough breeze or places to go to get away from the windy side of the island where all this stuff collects. They can actually start to have a lot of upper respiratory issues.
Right now they said that it's Puerto Rico, I think, is one of the places it's invading, or Costa Rica, I can't remember which.
Puerto Rico, I was just in St. Kitts,
okay,
or in St. Croix this past weekend in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and it was all over the surface of the water. And they said it was early, and they're basing that the early part of it is that we had 82-degree water.
Wow.
Normally the water temperatures would be 78 to 80 in this time of year, so the 82-degree water a little bit earlier in the year, the algae bloom and that sort of thing's all coming earlier, so it's all kind of intertwined together.
And I understand that it is so broad, it's really like a huge floating cloud, and that for things like dolphins or porpoises that breathe air, they get under that thing and they can't find an opening to get back up to get air because it's so thick.
I wouldn't think that it's thick enough to prevent a porpoise from getting back to the surface. Now, that it may be true, not in my experience. When I've seen it, it's not that heavy. It tends to just kind of float miscellaneously. It's when it all gets piled up on the beach that it starts to really mat up.
Yeah. But the places we know that it's not in, what are those places right now? Because I know you got some upcoming trips planned.
Well, it's pretty much throughout the Caribbean. I mean,
so it's everywhere
in all those areas. Yeah, but it's in some places it's worse than others. It just depends on which way the weather's blowing and how the wind is pushing it around, because it does tend to accumulate on the windward side of anything.
Yeah.
So the island on the windward side is going to pick up more of it than the leeward side.
Yeah, because it's just not blowing in.
Right.
The other thing going on right now is swimming pools are opening. People are getting out of the weather. We had a drowning last weekend. A guy went in and tried to save a family member and got caught in the current himself. I know you guys teach swimming lessons. It's very important, but you also stress water safety at all times to everybody.
Yeah, everyone needs to learn to swim. That's the first thing. Okay, it's available. We teach a lot of adult swim, all the way from small babies all the way through adults. And, being safe around the water, having the proper equipment, in a situation like that, if you're near the Wolf River and that kind of thing, put your kids in life jackets. Yeah. It's not too much trouble for them to wear a life jacket. That way, if somebody falls in, then everybody's, all we have to do now is figure a way to get them without getting anybody else hurt.
Yeah. Well, I know a few years ago we were at Pickwick, right at the beginning of the summer, and the water was still pretty cold. And a couple of families had all come in, and they had rented pontoons, and they're out there on the thing. And a couple of the dads said, "Well, it's so hot, I'm going to jump in." They didn't have their life jackets on. One guy jumped in and went under. It did not come back up. They later learned that he'd had a heart attack.
Sure.
And if that water can do that, it can shock you. And if you're not in a life jacket that supports your head, there's nobody there that can save you. I mean, it's just that simple.
If you go under immediately and nobody sees it, and a lot of people think that drowning is a loud thing that involves people splashing and making noise, and that's not the way it works. People just disappear off the surface of the water with no sound whatsoever. In that particular case, if you jump in cold water, something happens called a laryngospasm, where your larynx shuts in the anticipation that you're going to be underwater.
Yeah.
And
it's like a gag reflex.
You can't make any noise.
Yeah.
It's one of those kind of things where you wouldn't be able to call out to anybody. And if you do take your first breath underwater, well, then it turns out to be tragic.
Well, and I know from my own experience, you look down in the water, you can see maybe a few inches, and that's it. So you go more than a couple of feet, and you're completely obliterated by the green water.
You just can't see because the water's not clear enough.
And then the other thing you do, of course, is teach scuba and snorkeling. And people think snorkeling, well, what's to learn with snorkeling? But there really is a lot to learn, and the equipment is key.
Yeah, if you've ever been out and been choked playing snorkel, we can teach you how not to do that. I mean, the thing is, a little bit of decent equipment and a little bit of training, we can save you a lot of hard knocks learning.
Well, and we talked about it this summer when we were down in Destin, because my grandson had his little goggles. And, fortunately, the strap did not break this year, but that is one thing we always stress. Go buy a quality mask for your kids because they'll last.
We can get them set with a size that they can grow into, something that'll last several seasons and that kind of thing. And it'll be equipment that we can stand behind. If you have any trouble with it, just bring it back to us and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, nobody else gives that deal.
Yeah, it's all about, 65 years in Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you very much, everybody here in Memphis. We've done it by taking care of people, making sure we're getting them the right product for what they want to do, and that then if there is a problem with it, that the manufacturers stand behind it, and we stand behind it to make sure.
Trips coming up that people still can take advantage of.
We have space available going to Little Cayman here just in a couple of weeks, and I think I've got one spot left for the lucky person who wants to go to Grand Cayman with Lisa and Randy Collins here coming up, and we've got one spot left for our Roatan trip in August.
Which is down off the coast of
Honduras.
Yeah. So I was thinking Hondo.
Yeah.
John Wayne.
You got started mood. With H. We were doing good. Yeah.
Different mood. And if you have been certified in the past, it's been a while. It's really easy to come and get recertified. It depends. They'll do a checkout with them and see what they remember, what they don't remember.
Refresher course. Yeah. All you have to do is call us. We set those up privately. So you give us a ring and say, hey, look, I'm about to go diving. It's usually associated with some new travel that you're going to do. If you've been out of the water for more than 6 to 10 months, or in most cases, a lot of people, several years, give us a call. It takes about 3 hours, and all you have to do is call us. We'll schedule it in. You come to the store. We'll have an instructor with you privately in the pool. About an hour of classroom, about 2 hours of pool work, and we'll have you ready to go for your vacation.
And some of the places you go, you really see some interesting stuff. We've got a video of them out with, it's on your Facebook page.
Actually, this is St. Croix. This is just last week. We were down there, and so we had a lot of cool stuff going on.
Now, this is actually a shark?
They've been shooting lionfish down there and feeding the sharks. So, not sure what that video is. That's not from my trip, I don't think.
It was exciting anyway, whatever it was. But you try to take excursions with all your divers, not just underwater, but on land and different activities.
Sure. We went to St. Croix for the week. We stayed on what would be the western tip of the island, southwestern tip of the island. Most of the diving's up on the north side. So we rented some cars so that everybody had a way to get around. We could go to different restaurants and get to the dive area and all that kind of stuff. It was really a good time. Except they drive on the left over there. Even though it is a U.S. territory, they're still driving on the left. And the potholes are as bad as Memphis or worse.
But we've got experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you have a little bit of commonality there that you have to dodge all the holes.
And the food, really, every place you go, that's one of your requirements. Is that
I'm a big food guy. Yeah. So we went to Amma for the last night we were there. Highly recommended up on the North Shore, and then Taverna. It was another one that's over in Christianstad. If you're down there, give us a call. We've got all the scoop on the good food. The $10 hamburger on Monday at one of the places, and then the $10 chicken dinner at the chicken place on Tuesdays. We have all the lunch specials as well as all the fine dining options for you.
Well, you're a great cook anyway, so that's one of the things, where the food is. And that's the other advantage of these dive trips. You've got your people or you yourself on the trip from the get-go and throughout the trip. So it's not like you just hung out there to dry. And
we found all the fun stuff, even the beer drinking pigs. So that was there's a little place that is run by a girl from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. She's been down there for about 30 years, and she runs this little restaurant bar out in the countryside, beautiful idyllic setting, and they have 4 they're half boars, half wild boars, and half pot-bellied pigs, and they probably weigh 300-400 pounds apiece. And when you walk into where their stalls are, you carry a can of non-alcoholic beer with you. They don't give them alcohol anymore. They did back in the old days. But now it's non-alcoholic beer.
They still like it.
And they jump up on the side of the stall, and you hand them this beer, and they just crunch the can and drink all the liquid out of it and then spit the can out. It's absolutely amazing.
I know people like that.
Yeah, I know several people that would fit right in.
Well, Grand Cayman coming up, we'll try to have a day when you're there. We'll see if we can get a Zoom call in and actually take people on a little vacation this
later. We'll do some of that as well.
All right. Randy Wright with the Dive Shop and Dive Venture. Give them a contact number. They can get hold of you.
Give us a call at 901-763-3483. That's 763-DIVE. Or come by and see us at 999 South Yates. Swim, snorkel, scuba, we got it all for you.
And you look good in that Lansky's jacket.
Isn't this gorgeous, man?
It's you.
You're going to cost me a lot of money since you moved down here. Hal's going to be really happy.
But everybody's going to be looking sharp.
Absolutely. We'll all be sharp-dressed people.
That's right. Randy Wright with the Dive Shop. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. Good to be here.
We're going to take a quick break, visit with some of our other sponsors in addition to Randy Wright, and then we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union. We're the proud title sponsor of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show. Coming to you live from Lansky's in the world-famous Peabody Hotel and celebrating all of the great things about our great city, Memphis, Tennessee.
Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I'm so proud to be part of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show, streaming live from Lansky's from the Peabody. We will be showcasing not only Napa Cafe, but some great restaurants around town. We look forward to seeing you.
Hi, everyone. It's Diane Kimbrough, Lady Di, your insurance PI. And I'm here to tell you about the new podcast that Earle Farrell for Memphis is doing. And we're doing it downtown live from the Peabody, which is behind me and next to the Rendezvous. And we're going to be talking all things Memphis, but we're also going to be talking about health insurance because that applies to everyone. And I can help you in every area. So I look forward to you listening to us and learning more about what we can do for you in Memphis and how I can help you with your health.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today. And we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carrey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25. And I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching Earle and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Kathy Thurman Edwards, State Farm, and I'm so excited to be one of the sponsors for the Earle Farrell from Memphis show, broadcasting live from Lansky's at the Peabody. And I'll tell you all about what we've got going on at our office. Gift cards for quotes. No purchase necessary. I'm better looking than a lizard.
Hi, this is Randy Wright from the Dive Shop and Diventures in Memphis. We've been in Memphis over 64 years teaching people to dive, snorkel, and swim. We'd love to have you come join us and have some fun. We're also a part of the Diventures group with 18 locations across the country, stretched from Phoenix to Vienna, Virginia. Please give us a call. We'll be able to take care of you at 999 South Yates in Memphis, or call us at 901-763-DIVE.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
Hi, my name is Jameson Totten, and I'm the director of Live at the Garden and the Radiance Amphitheater. And we're so excited for our 25th year of Live at the Garden here at the Memphis Botanic Garden. We've got a great lineup for you this season, so come on out.
Hi, I'm Olivia Wall, Director of Marketing and Communications for Memphis Botanic Garden and Live at the Garden. We've had Earle Farrell right along the way for the past 25 years, and we can't wait to talk more about the season this summer at the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
So come out to Live at the Garden. Our first show is on June 21st.
Hi, my name is Scott Fueling. I'm president of Phoenix Communications here in Memphis. I'm really proud to support Earle Farrell's show, as is everybody else on the team. We love Memphis, and we love doing things to promote Memphis, and we can't wait for this to get started.
And welcome back. Joining me now is my good friend Josh Hammond with Buster's Liquors and Buster's Butcher. And he's looking sharp today. Hey, you put that thing on. I was watching you try it on over there, and as soon as you put it on, I went, "That's it. That's him." Yeah.
I've been looking for a light gray, nice, pattern. Just a light, subtle pattern.
Yeah.
This is my style. I'm a little conservative, so unlike you, and then I understand that's a black wedding jacket, by the way.
Well, I'm just borrowing it for a minute. I'm certainly not planning on any marriage activity. But
this is walking out with me.
Yeah, that should go with you.
I like it. Hats off to Hal. I'm glad to be down here, quite frankly, and.
Everybody loves coming here because it's so beautiful in here, and everybody looks good in here because you got all these great-looking clothes surrounding you.
I'm not really much one to shop for clothes. It's something I don't like to do, but I got to tell you, I'm very much impressed with the shop, yes.
And Hal told me this. He said, you'd be amazed at the Memphians that don't think about coming here because they think it's all Elvis stuff. It's really not.
Yeah.
I mean, you got some very conservative jackets and shirts. You can go as crazy as you want to. But you can also just find stuff that's fun to wear, and then you really look good. I know that when I saw you during the holidays in your tuxedo, I said, that looks custom fit. He goes, well, it is. And I'm like,
yeah, well, I got that buttoned. It was a little tight on me.
but you could tell it was fitted. And these jackets look fitted when you put them on.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing I loved about it.
Yeah.
So your business, one thing I wanted to compare it to is Lansky's. They're a 3-generation company. It was Bernard and his brother that started it, and then Hal took over from Bernard, and now Julie, his daughter, has got her store right across the hall from us here, and she's also involved in over here in the other store they have here. Buster's is the same reason. It's a family thing. You and your brother. But now you got the grandkids coming along. That's another generation.
I guess it would be great-grandkids of Buster.
Yeah.
Morgan and I are grandkids to Buster, and then our dad was Rami. And Morgan has 2 boys that are old enough now to start working in the store. Bear is 22 and been working there for a few years, and Nash just turned 18, so he's going to enjoy some summer with us before he goes off to college. And it is quite remarkable and a fun experience to see the next generation getting involved. To get to 4, the odds are like 1% to 2% or something like that. So.
Well, were you and your brother both interested in the business when you were young, like in high school, or was it something that you got into after high school and college?
Well, I mean, it's alcohol, right? So
it had your attention from the get-go.
Yeah, well, probably did, right? But I think our parents did a good job of, in a sense, keeping us a little shielded from that. And, I'm sure in the back of our heads, understanding it's a family business, it would be an opportunity to come and work at the store. No, I think when the time came, we both woke up to it when it was ready for us.
Well, but I've had friends that their parents owned car dealerships, and they couldn't wreck all the cars they wanted to either. So, there's a responsible side to ownership. And,
there's no, and in the liquor business, that's pretty much number one. It can be an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
People walk into my office and see the desk with about 40 bottles that are opened on it, and they're like,
they don't
how do you do
that.
this? Yeah, and I'm like, well, I don't come in and start drinking first thing in the morning, so that's not the case. And and we're just sampling when it's all said and done.
And people really don't understand tastings. In tastings, you're not swallowings.
Yeah.
They're tastings.
That's right.
And although I've had some employees that didn't correspond with that, they swallowed as often as they could.
Well, it's funny you say that. I mean, the consumer for spirits, too, is tasting liquor now like it's a fine wine.
Yeah.
And to your point, they're not John Wayne-ing it, throwing it in the back of their throat and letting the alcohol burn off there and in their esophagus, and then they start tearing up and heartburn comes. No, you take a small, fine little sip, put it on the front tip of your palate, and then let it kind of get desensitized after a few small sips, and next thing you know, those flavors really start to hit. Now you're on to something.
Yeah. And it is. It's tequilas. I remember a few years ago it was vodka. Now it seems to be tequilas are very popular.
Yep.
Everybody's getting a tequila business. And they've refined it so much that it's much more like a wine than a hard liquor.
Yeah. I think all the techniques that they have employed into the distillation and production process, and aging of spirits has really helped and has come a long way. You can remember back in the 90s with a lot of red wine, everything seemed to get elevated, the quality did, and because more folks learned how to make this stuff, taste better and more enjoyable. And I think you're seeing that along a number of categories in the spirits industry.
It's interesting. When I first moved here, I think Mateus and Blue Nun and
Mateus came in a wooden box.
Boone's Farm, Ripple Wine were all the big ones. And most people, and when they started becoming more refined, it was a Chardonnay, and then other wines. And I think John Grazzani probably did more to educate people in Memphis to wine than any other one person early on.
Yeah.
Now, Buster's, you guys were huge in that and expanding to wine where other people just had one row of wine in their store. You guys went, hey, wine is where it's moving. People are becoming more refined in their taste and more sophisticated.
Dad recognized that and in the 90s and just said yes to everything that came his way. And with that, our selection really grew. Our popularity grew over time. And we have a lot to be thankful that he saw that and kept on expanding the wine business.
What was the big movie with Pinot Noir that came out? Was it Twisted? Is that the name?
Sideways?
Sideways.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's my dyslexia. You can Twisted, Sideways, same thing.
Close, yeah.
But that,
charades.
I remember I talking to you, and you said we were out of Pinot Noir because everybody wanted to try it.
Yeah.
And it was nationwide.
No doubt. Merlot plummeted, and Pinot Noir just took off, and it's personally my favorite wine to drink is Pinot Noir, and Chardonnay would be my favorite too. And I think there's talks about Sideways 2 coming out.
Really?
And the idea is to come back to Merlot.
Wow, that's
and
great.
give it some reverence it deserves.
Well, I still love Merlot.
And I think Paul Giamatti will
be in it. That would be great.
Yeah, that's the idea. So I think there's some talks, and that's on the way.
What are some of the popular summer drinks this summer? Is it vodka again? Is it tequila vodka?
Yeah, when you get to summertime, you're talking lighter colored drinks like vodka and tequila, and then look, we've got a lot of great gins in the store. Old Dominic makes a great one.
Which is local.
Which is local, yeah. Old Dominic, and then we've got another one that's local. It's called Waymar, and these are by a couple of boys from the Perkins family, Chris Perkins, and he his boys during COVID got to making bathtub gin, and
turned out pretty good.
Yeah, and they figured out how to. They got with Macaulay Williams, for folks that know him, and here in Memphis, he helped start Blue Note, and anyhow, they've got these Waymar gins on the shelf, and what I like about the Waymar gin is there's a little bit of this orange peel resonance that you get, and I'll just love that.
Yeah.
And so they've got, I think we got the 4th. As a matter of fact, we're doing Waymar next Saturday at the store, not this Saturday, but the Saturday following at Buster's East, and I think that's National Gin Day or World Gin Day or something.
Would that be a coincidence?
Yeah, something like that. I'm just now getting up to speed on everything, but they're going to be introducing a 4th one that's got a vermouth
built-in
component that, I'm not very familiar with, but I've heard is really tasty. Customers have already tasted it on the side.
Gin has really become refined too. One time there were just a few gins out there.
Yep.
Beefeater, some of the
That's right.
But
same thing with the category. But go ahead.
But it is. There's so many people now that are doing gin martinis and other gin drinks that had gotten away from it. I just remember college. There was some girl I went out with that she was a gin drinker, and it tasted like kerosene to me. But then years later when I tried it, I said, well, they got away from the kerosene. This stuff is pretty good.
That's right. So, no, again, the quality has improved across the board. You don't want to drink a whole lot of gin because I did that one time in college. And
you don't want to do that.
It added a lot more wrinkles to my brain, and it hurt for a few days.
Yes.
It was pretty awful. But to hit gin on a high note again, we told you about Old Dominic, Waymar. There's one more that's kind of local. It's out at Taylor or near Oxford, and it's called Wonderbird Gin.
Oh.
And they make this from rice, And you can go down there. They've got a great facility just south of Oxford.
I have been by there. A friend of mine, Mark Beanblossom, you know Mark.
Yeah.
He's got a house down there. He drove me up. They have a place where they do tastings, and it's really a cool facility.
Yeah.
And I remember the name. I love the name.
Yeah. So, no, they're just doing great stuff down there. And so that would be another one to check out. And again, all these are just quality to drink smooth. So, yeah, you've got vodka, which we've all known about, and then you've got gin, but you've also got tequila. And what's happening with tequila market right now is, if you'd have told me, Josh, you're going to sell more tequila out of your store than vodka, I would have bet the house, and I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah,
I would have lost that bet. And tequila is on fire.
What is it? Do you think it is? Is it the connotation of the word tequila that people like? It's
well, in practical form or technical form, it's an upper compared to a depressant.
A depressant, yeah.
So you've got that, and it's low calorie, so that's attractive.
Less than vodka.
That's right. Yeah, I just think they've improved the quality so much. About 4 or 5 years ago, we did a tequila tasting down in Mexico, and I did not want to do it because I wasn't into tequila at the time, and I just had flashbacks of my college experiences and, rock gut tequila. And so, but it really opened up my eyes. There's some nice stuff out there.
It is amazing, and it doesn't even need to be chilled. I mean, you're drinking at room temp a tequila, and it's almost like a dry martini. That's how it affects your palate. You take a sip of it, and you go, great flavor, no burn.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what style you like. I mean, there's Blancos, right?
Sure.
Or silver tequilas. And, those are cleaner and, don't have a wood component of aging. Then you've got Reposado. It sees just a little time in a barrel. And then you've got Añejo, where the color's darker and richer. And those are my favorite because they are more, as I would say, bourbon-esque.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like those to drink.
Let's talk backyard grilling. This is the time of year we start getting into that, and you've got the butcher shop. And the great thing about the butcher, Buster's Butcher, is you got your head butcher knows what the hell he's doing, and so does your entire staff in there.
Yep.
And people go and keep in mind this is all prime beef, guaranteed Black Angus certified prime beef, and it is more expensive than some of your big box stores. But you know what you're getting, and once you try it the very first time, you will be back because it is that much better.
Yeah, it's definitely a notice in quality and a step up from a lot of things that are offered in the city. And people will come in and go, "Oh, interesting, your pricing on this," and get they got to check things out and when they first come and they see the pricing on some of these things, but once you understand the quality of it, it's like, oh, now I get what's going on here. This is not just your everyday meat that gets thrown up on the shelf.
And you'll know it the first bite you take of it.
Yeah,
every bite.
When you cook it and you get you a fillet and it just seems to cut like butter.
It does.
I mean, it's really that good. But the butchers are great. That's a tribute to Brad. He knew where to source really quality meats from across the board. If you haven't been in the store, we do have the 100% prime beef that we offer. That is every day. It's not like just a special. It's there. We've got the pork products. We've got made in-house sausages, which are, Brad's recipes. We've got charcuterie. We've got cheeses, and we've got exotic elements too, and some poultry.
Well, like you're going to Live at the Garden stuff coming up. Stop by there and pick up a charcuterie, pick up some sandwiches. You guys make sandwiches.
Yeah, that's right. It's a great call. We can craft a board for you, or you can do a la carte and just order your own meats and cheeses and plate it on your own board when you get there.
Do what I do. Get some fillets, eat them steak tartare.
There you go. I like to hear it. That's what I'm talking about.
Man stuff. But your family has been here many, many years. You've got a great tradition, and people know Buster's, and they know it's a family-run business. They know that it's not an easy business. I mean, you've had your setbacks in the last couple of years with the break-ins, driving trucks through the windows. You've had to put in barriers to stop that, and it didn't stop it. You had to get tougher.
Yep.
And I think you've got that problem solved. And then there's always something around the corner that you're dealing with. You're dealing with another situation now.
Yep.
which it's in litigation, so we really can't talk about it. But I think people do need to know that you guys have always done the right thing, and you're once again trying to do the right thing. Just saying, hey, if we're all going to play by the same rules, let's play by the same rules.
That's right. That's right. I think for those that know us and what's going on right now, there's an issue with the city, and there is a lawsuit on the matter. It's really unfortunate. I mean, look, this location in question is that area has been off limits for 50 years. And so you tell me how this happened. And it seems to have a volley of errors surrounding it, which, you would think there's more to it. We're not sure. But at the end of the day, I guess it's all going to have to get sorted out in court at this point. There's really so many nuances to it. And it's been fascinating, quite frankly. But that's about it, I guess, would probably be the safest thing to say.
You should know more about it next month. It's going to Chancery Court. And I think it's important to know that you guys have always been above board in everything you've ever done. And that was something that was handed down from your grandfather to your dad to you.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, look, we're, we try to be good citizens in this community and give back. And, if there's some errors in the way things are working, they need to be fixed. And I think that's what's going on here, that we've got to get down to the bottom of it and say, hey, how did this all happen?
Well, as with the people that were breaking into your store, they now know you're serious about that. You've stopped that. I think you'll take care of business here once again.
Well, that didn't involve just us. There were a lot of retailers. And speaking on this issue, this matter on this other location is, it includes 4 stores and a couple of parents and a lot of concerned citizens in the area, quite frankly, that didn't have any public notice
that it was going to happen.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like, okay, well, what's going on here, and what are these processes that need to be looked at? But yeah.
Well, we'll stay in touch and keep everybody posted on this, but business is not easy, never has been, never will be. You just have to stay after it and be successful.
That's it. Keep trucking.
Well, you got Buster's East, you got Buster's on Highland, along with Buster's Butcher, and doing a fabulous job.
No, thank you, Earle. And don't forget about the Magic Light Wand. It's going to be coming back for the Christmas holidays.
We've been using ours for years now. One of my grandson broke one of them, but we had 2.
Yeah.
Now we say, we'll hand it to you, but you can't run with it.
Well, we'll make sure you get a new one, but we've got those here and ready for this Christmas season.
You should talk to Hal, get them in here in Lansky.
No doubt.
That and the women's store next door.
And Earle, listen, thank you for having me. I'm glad to see your new endeavor here, and this is fantastic.
I think it is. Everybody loves it. Hal loves it, so that means it's successful.
Nice. Well, I'm leaving with buying something.
There you go. Josh Hammond, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, Earle.
That's our show for today, everybody. We'll be back next week. Be sure and tune in. And also, you can catch this show and all the other shows on YouTube. We'll see you later.